Today we are going to go through the archery mastery, right? And so this is a mastery all about bows and shooting people with arrows and stuff like that. So it's how would I go about this? So the archery mastery itself is something that traditionally in TTRPGs we've kind of like wrestled with during the design process, and this is something that we have come up to after many iterations, right? Because traditionally archeries and bows are just ranged attacks with a skin on it. So we are going to show you our take on it, which for the basic set, we are focusing on a sniper kind of approach to the whole thing, right? Hello, Mr. 3K31000. That's a bit difficult to say. All right, so let's start. Right, so the archery mastery, if just to catch everybody up, the mastery system in Aeons of Adventure is it's kind of like, you can think about it as a multi-classing system where you have different masteries and then you spend points on them and then you can gain certain skills. So it's a skill point kind of class-based, skill-based thing, but it's more of a skill point system, right? And so it's meant to allow for easy multi-classing, easy picking up of skills, and you're meant to pick on multiple masteries. But you can also just choose to go fully into one mastery. Oh yeah. Right. So let's take a look at the description for the archery mastery. So the mastery, this is what is going to be inside the physical book of the basic set, right? So the archery mastery is well, you're using bows. You're an archer. You're poised with a bow in hand, loosing arrows and rapid volleys that arc like sparrows in flight with pinpoint precision, striking foes from afar. So take note of the striking part. So archery is mainly focused around striking, which is rolling to attack an enemy. All right. Well, okay, we'll get on to that later. Right. So tell us a little bit more about the archery mastery.
So, I mean, you mentioned earlier, I think this is the one mastery that we have reworked, like the whole concept and like the whole like approach towards it. We have changed like 3 times over a single year.
Yeah, we've redesigned the whole thing multiple times.
Like, okay, like I mean, I think right here only 2 skills remain, which is power shot and black powder. I think the rest is all like new.
I think even power shot was not like
Power shot
in this version.
Power shot,
Yeah, it wasn't this
black
version of power
powder
shot.
was the only one that remained roughly the same. So I mean, just now you mentioned so in this version of the archery mastery here, we're actually showcasing more of a sniper gameplay.
Yep.
So I mean, I can say this, which is our initial approach was actually more of an acrobatic style.
Yep.
So like Lord of the Rings,
like Legolas,
very maneuverable.
Yep.
So it's like a lot of repositioning.
If you're familiar with like Dragon Nest, it will be more of like that archer kind of like jumping around, shooting a short bow.
So it's more
agile movement.
Yeah, and then it's not that it didn't work or it didn't stick, but it wasn't cool.
It's not interesting for archery.
It's not eye-catching.
Yeah.
Correct. Like this current iteration of archery is actually one of my favorite mastery right now. So like this and another martial class we may or may not touch on it.
Yep.
We will see how.
We'll see based on our schedule in the upcoming weeks.
But this is I think one of my favorite mastery right now. So it's very fun. It's okay if you like to throw dice. This is probably a mastery for you. You throw a lot of dice.
Yep.
Yeah.
So for some context, our system AoARPG is a 2d6 resolution system. You roll 2d6 and you add your modifiers to beat a target number. There is no damage rolls. However, based on the results of your 2d6, the results can vary, right? So like for example, if you roll a single 6, you roll 2 6s, there are different effects. All right. So let's get on to our very first skill, which is power shot in the list.
So we have examples of mastery.
Oh, right. That's true. So as we go down, right, so you can see the archery skills. We have the different skills and different ranks inside them. So we have 5 skills available, same as all the other masteries. You have 5 skills that you can learn in the basic set, right? And you have different ranks required to learn them. So ranks determine how many points you have already spent in the mastery to pick up this skill. So rank 0 means that this is your first skill, right? And power shot is your basic attack, sort of, right? So we have 0, 1, 2, 2, 3. This is the spread for archery, which means that you have to take power shot and focus because they are the core focus of the archery mastery in the basic set, right? And then at rank 2, you can choose between signal fire and black powder shot, and then rank 3 is a siege stance, right? So a little bit of flexibility. There's not too much flexibility in archery because there are some basic requirements, right? You need to make a range attack with your bow, and focus is kind of like the gel, like the glue of the mastery in the basic set, right? And so we have 2 examples of combinations here before we jump into the actual skill details. This is just to give like an example of what are the class fantasies that you can have by including this mastery inside, right? So we'll do this for all of the masteries, like Blade Arts get their swordsman and stuff like that. And so in the archery, we give them, we're giving 2 kind of like basic archery combinations that people can use as inspirations. These are suggestions. These are not classes, right? So the first one is the longbowman, right? Which is someone who uses bow and he wears cloth armor into a fight. So cloth armor in AoA is high evasion, 0 armor rating, right? So it allows you for higher stamina spending, or allows you to focus on channeling and things like that. Oh, sorry, not focus on channeling. To evade more. Channeling is heavy armor, right? So in this one is you can become a longbowman by just wearing cloth armor, using all of your stamina to fire arrows from afar. Or another option, which is the more traditional kind of like ranger hunter sort of thing, is the next one, which is archery beast, which we covered last week, and light armor, which is a more mobile kind of like
is the in between like armor class. So it's like we have the 3 types, so cloth, light, and heavy. So light is like a mixture of evasion and armor.
Yep. Yeah. So light armor offers a little bit of protection and allows you to move a bit faster. These are based on the light armor skills itself as well, because all of the cloth, light, and heavy have their own mastery skills, right? On top of being able to wear, you don't need them to wear the armor, but wearing the armor allows you to use those skills, right? So as a hunter, you can use your beast skill, summon a pet, assist you in your attacks, launch your attacks itself, and then if you check last week's videos, you'll see some of the synergies that are possible by running both archery and beast, right? Okay, so without further ado, let's go on to the very first skill, which is the most basic skill that you'll see here today, right? So it's power shot, right? It's a basic attack. You're shooting the guy with a bow, right? So similar to like Dungeons and Dragons or Pathfinder, right? When you use a bow to attack, the range of the attack is dependent on the bow rather than the skill. So the bow itself would actually show the range of the attack itself. So you have like the close range and the far range, and your traditional, like if the enemy is within 5 feet, you have disadvantage and stuff like that, right? So we'll just go through the details of the power shot from the top, right? So the name is power shot, and then we have the tags, which are strike, range, bow, and heavy. So what are these? What do these tags mean?
So we are using text to explain what a skill is, like from a very quick summary point. So strike means like you're rolling to attack. Range means you're hitting from afar. Bow means this bow, how the bow mastery or like stuff like that. And then heavy is something that is more of a martial weapon thing, whereby you have it's the stat modifier that you use to roll. So in this case, it's heavy, which is using your strength.
No, that's different. That's different.
Yeah, that's my
so heavy is the property from the weapon.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. So heavy here in this case is that heavy refers to all weapons that require 2 hands to use.
Two-handed.
Yeah. So a 2-handed sword is heavy. 2-handed mace, a bow is heavy. A crossbow could be heavy as well. However, if it is 1-handed, it will be light, and if it's 2-handed, if it can be used with 1 or 2 hands, it will be versatile. Yeah. Right. So heavy is just telling you that you need 2 hands to use a bow, right? Which I think is fair, common sense enough. Yeah. But even if for example, if a weapon were to say that it is light or versatile, and then the skill says that it's heavy, you have to use 2 hands. Yeah. So some skills require both your hands to use. So in this case, the power shot itself is a heavy skill, right? So you need a heavy or versatile bow, and you need to use 2 hands on the skill itself, right? So next line is it's a technique, which is shown on the card at the top left, right? Its SP cost is 1. So SP is stamina points. In AoA, we use a stamina point system. So instead of having actions like move and stuff like that, you have stamina points that you can spend on any action that you want, and you can repeat your actions for as long as you have stamina points, right? So at level 1 and 2, you have 2 points. At level 3 onwards, you have 3 points, right? There's no limits to how many times you want to use a skill, but you only regain your stamina points at the end of your turn, right? So end of the player round, right? Then the mastery, archery 0. So this is your first skill. Requirements, you wield a bow. And MP, which is the mastery point cost, is how many mastery points you need to learn the skill. So in this case, it is 1. So the effect. What's the effect of Power Shot?
So there's 3 lines here because this is quite standard for if you have seen the melee, the blade arts one. So it's pretty normal also for strikes, because strikes usually have the good success and critical success conditions lah. So what that translate here is actually the first line is actually like if you successfully hit a target, then followed by a good success, which is denoted by a single exclamation mark, and to obtain that you roll a single natural 6.
Yeah.
Or somehow get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are ways to obtain 6.
Which is technically the next skill, but yes. Then when you get a natural crit, right, then that will be like the double exclamation mark, and all this is addition.
Yep.
So this means you add, like, if you roll a crit, right, it's 4 plus 3 plus 3.
So this is all cumulative.
Correct. So to go into more detail, so this is a ranged weapon strike. So what that means, right, is this is a ranged attack. You roll 2d6 that uses a weapon. Then dealing 4 hearts. So hearts is actually just a physical damage, but it's also dependent on the weapon type.
Yep.
Yeah.
So this is for generic damage, but because your weapon is physical, it will be physical. It will inherit whatever your weapon is. So if somehow your weapon turns into fire, then it will be fire damage, right? So over here, it's cumulative. You have 4 damage, then you do +3 and +3 on a great success and a critical success, which is rolling 1 6, rolling 2 6s, as long as you still beat the guy's evasion, right? So you'll notice this trend, which is that for bow skills, the great successes and critical successes, right, are very, the numbers are pretty high. Yeah, they skew towards the great success and critical success sides. So that's one of the core design philosophies behind archery, which is that we want the great successes and critical successes to be extra impactful, which is why the next skill comes into play, which is the kind of like gel that holds all of this, the glue that holds all of the archery mastery together for the basic set, right? So this is what makes the bow character a sort of like sniper class. So what is this skill?
So the skill is focus. It's a boon and bane.
Bow.
A bow.
It's not a bane. This does not hurt you.
So boon here means, right, it's actually a buff to the player lah. Okay. Then it's same technique. The cost is 1. Requirement is archery 1, which means you need to have like the power shot to be taken before you can take this.
Yep.
Wielding a bow as well as mastery cost 1 point. So this effect is simpler. So it's very straightforward. It just says, right, your next bow strike gains advantage and deal +2. Right. So this effect can stack. And I think that's important because, right, what this leads up to can be like, for example, you know this. For example, this is very out there. For example, like, you know that this combat is going to last more than a turn. So instead of doing damage in this turn, you just focus twice, and in your next turn, when you actually regain it back, so this means in your next turn you have two more stamina, right? You can focus another time, and you do a single power shot. So that grants you 3 advantage and like 3 sets of this bonus lah, right? So it's like 9, no, yeah, damage.
Okay, let's take it from the top, right? So boon, these are all boons that affect you. It's a bow skill, it's a technique, right? And then we go all the way down to the effect. So your next bow strike, So this can be any bow strike. This can be your basic attack. This can be your power shot.
Skills. Yeah.
This can be a skill that uses your bow that is a strike. Any bow strike, right? Your next bow strike gains an advantage. What is an advantage? An advantage is, so we have a 2d6 system, and an advantage means that you add one more d6. It is not additive, so you add one more d6, and then you will take the two highest numbers, right? Advantages can stack. So you can roll, you can use as many focuses as you want before you launch your shot. You can stack as many d6s as you want, you just take the two highest ones. If you gain a disadvantage, you lose that advantage dice and then it goes negative, right? And so if you have no advantages and you have one disadvantage, you roll 3 dice and take the two lowest, right? So that's how advantage and disadvantage works. So you can start to see how focus and power shot already kind of like synergizes, right? Which is that you have great successes and critical successes and do more damage. And then you have this skill that allows you to start fishing for more d6s and more criticals at the cost of your stamina points, right? So that's the trade-off here. Like, you're going to sit down, you're going to aim, and you're going to fire one powerful shot. Or choose not to. You know, you can choose to just fire a shot, or you can choose to focus one time and launch, focus 2 times and launch. It's up to you, right? Those are things that are within your control. And as mentioned just now, so one of the key kind of like mechanical implications for this skill is that it's your next bow strike. Never say this turn, right? This can be your next bow strike 3 turns down. You can
focus for
if for some reason you want to
turns.
focus for as many turns as you want and then use all your stamina to fire one shot, go ahead. You're not going to increase your damage that much more, but it still has a +2. So no matter what, right? Using 1 SP here, you're not going to lose damage. You're going to gain at least a +2. So this is better than True Strike in OD&D, right?
Unless you miss.
Then, well, if you, statistically, that's almost impossible. But if you roll like 6 dice and then all of them are like, below 3s, well, too bad.
Yeah.
Right. So from here on, right? So think about the entire archery mastery within the context of having focus and making strikes, right? So here we'll go into our next skill, which is one of the very first skills that we designed. It is the AoE option for archers, right? Which is
the fireball.
The fireball for archers, basically, right? Because initially when we were designing bows, they kind of just felt like casters with a martial weapon. So we gave them a couple of options here and there, and we were trying to differentiate.
It felt like a lame magic.
Yeah, it kind of felt like a not so
wimpy,
not so good cantrip casting archer character. So
yeah.
If you're familiar with ice knives in D&D, this is something like that, right? So okay, let's take it from the top. What is black powder shot?
So this has a lot more text than the previous ones lah. So I think the most unique one here will be like fire. So fire is actually a damage type.
Yep.
Correct. So this means that this skill actually has a fire damage component somewhere. It might not. So I mean, later you'll see. So it's a strike. It's a blast also, which means that there might so the difference between strike and blast is that strike is you rolling and blast is the enemy rolling against you.
Yeah. So if you are causing the effect and you're targeting someone, it's a strike. If you are receiving the effect or someone else is receiving the effect, then they will roll the blast roll. So traditionally this is like a saving throw.
Yeah.
Right.
Then moving on. So I think this is also the first 2 stamina cost skill in the archery lineup. Yeah. Then following that is mastery. You need 2. So I mean this is third skill. Wielding a bow as well as the mastery point cost is 1. So going to the effect here, right? It's actually quite a bit thick. Correct. So breaking it down here, so you have ranged weapon strike dealing 5 damage and attaching a bomb to the target that blasts in a 15 feet emanation for 5 fire the next turn. The next time the target is hit. Right. So this whole chunk, right, is split into 2 different sections. You can kind of split into 2 different sections. One is basically a basic attack, right? That after, so you could actually, if you have 3 stamina, you could follow up immediately with power shot and immediately cause the effect, right? If you don't, then you have to wait for like something to happen. Or if you focus and do this and you get and you manage to get a natural 6, right? Then the bomb immediately explodes. So this means that you can immediately do the 5 fire damage as well here. And then after that, the crit will be the bomb itself does 2 additional fire damage. Yeah, bring up to like 7. Yeah.
So, okay, there's quite a lot of like mechanical implications behind this skill itself, right? So ranged weapon strike, similar to power shot. Yes, you roll 2d6, you hit 5 damage. Easy. Right. Attaching a bomb. So you attach a bomb, it's kind of like a debuff, but it's not an actual debuff, right? So you attach a physical bomb onto the person, so you shoot, then there's a bomb there. And then if this bomb explodes, then it will be a blast roll on everybody around it within a 15 feet emanation. So 15 feet emanation means 15 feet radius out and then sphere around the guy, right? For 5 damage. So note that this does not have plus on it. So this is 2 separate instances of damage. If someone has armor, it reduces both hits, right? And the last part, which is the next time the target is hit, it's not specified that you have to hit the target. So anybody can hit this target. So if you can launch a bomb there and then someone else shoots another AoE and then explodes everybody. Also works, right? So from then on, then the next part is, yes, as mentioned just now, explodes immediately. You can see the synergy here with focus. So you focus and then you fire. You have a higher chance of rolling a single 6, and you can instantly explode the thing. And then we go into the next part, which is that the bomb deals additional 2 damage. Now, do take note, this is 2 additional damage on the AoE component, right? So this is potentially, if you hit 2 people with it, it's at least 14 damage plus 5, right? It's because you still have the base hit. So it's a pretty chunky skill right off the bat if you land it normally, and if you do crit, as long as you use it in an AoE situation. Single target, questionable, right? Because you're doing 2 instances of a damage, reducing the damage twice, but it's also 2 SP cost, right? But in an AoE situation, this is really good, really efficient, and it's there's a bit of like a tactical thing here, which is that, oh, I'm going to shoot this thing. Melee guys in my group, please come out, and another ranged guy can shoot it to proc the bomb and make it go off, right? This is a good time to also include the fact that in AoE, in rounds, in the player rounds, right, players go at the same time. So all players go at the same time, which means that I can spend a stamina point, someone else can spend a stamina point, and then you spend your stamina point to finish up the turn. This can happen in any order. Generally, we have found that this allows for people to synergize with each other better, to plan and go all in one round, rather than be interrupted by monsters here and there. There's also no opportunity attacks. So,
not in the traditional sense.
Not in the traditional sense, right? There are reactions, but generally there are no like, oh, I run past the enemy and then the opportunity attack me, right? So with that, there are quite a lot of implications here when it comes to shooting an AoE, planting a bomb, and then getting guys to walk out and then stuff like that.
So adding on to the tactical component, right? Do note that this is attaching a bomb to the target.
Yep.
So what may happen is if you shoot a guy, no one hits it, and then he runs away, the bomb explodes somewhere else.
Yep.
Right? Because it's not like the area moves with the guy. Yeah.
So you might have a skill that hits someone away, right? That might also work. There are a bunch of things that you could do, and as you see the masteries, as we review more masteries in the coming weeks, right, you start to see more and more synergies here. Especially with things like you can already see with the beast, right? So like you can shoot a thing and then you ask your beast to go and attack it, but you might also kill your beast. So
even with fire.
Yeah, even with the fire mastery itself. Okay, and so let's move on to our next skill, which is the 4th skill now. So this is a choice skill, right, between Black Powder Shot and this skill, or you can choose both. It's up to you, right? So this is a Signal Fire. So what is Signal Fire?
This is actually a skill that is kind of an addition to focus, where you gain like more disadvantages. So you're stacking on both ends. If you can think of it that way, where you're making the enemy move slower, stuff like that, or like they can't move. Correct.
This is not
move. The stamina thing,
evasion.
Yeah. So it's like you can think of it as like you're getting more and more efficient at shooting someone, or assistance in that sense. So I think this is this the first debuffer that we have?
Yes.
Yeah.
This is the first
debuff that we have lah. So going back to the name, so the name is Signal Fire. The text here is strike, range, bane, bow, and heavy. So Bane is a debuff condition on the. It's usually a debuff condition lah, right? So in this case, right, it's actually in the effect where it says, right, it's the enemy that get hits, right, loses 1 evasion until the start of your turn. So do note it's your turn. So this means that if you, like we mentioned earlier, if there's any form of opportunity attack or like stuff like that, that is applied. Yeah, because unless you are like the end of the turn, then too bad.
I mean,
it still works, right? It still works,
it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter, yeah. So, going back a bit backwards to the stats again. So the cost is the stamina point cost is 1, and similar to Black Powder, it's also it's an Archery 2 skill.
The rank 2
so
skill.
This means you can take this after you take focus.
Yep.
Yeah. Then going back again to the effect. Sorry, I'm jumping around. It's still the basic hit does 3 damage and -1 evasion. Then on the good success, it'll be +1 damage, so bring up to 4, and they loses like 2 evasion now.
In total.
Yeah. And for the crit, you gain 3 more damage.
Yep. Yeah. So evasion here, right? Evasion is the target number that you are rolling to surpass, right? So since we're a 2d6 game, your evasion rating is typically around 7 plus.
Yeah.
Right? So 7 and above. -2 is very deadly, right? -2 on 7 is like, imagine the guy has 7, now he has 5, right? Rolling 2d6 is very easy. With modifiers, it's very easy to hit a 5 target number because you just need to roll to hit. You need to beat, right? So as long as you roll, you hit the 5, you succeed.
And all that is before any focus or advantage.
Yep. So this minus evasion doesn't just apply to you. It applies to it's a debuff on the target. So that's what Bane represents. Bane represents a debuff that is not one of the default conditions, and usually it's something that is more special or specific to a skill.
Limited also somewhat.
What do you mean?
It's like duration based, so it's like until the next turn or
typically
like
it is duration based, right? So rounds time, and each round is 6 seconds. Generally we'll use by rounds, right? Most of our effects are by rounds or turns in this case, right? So it's a Bane on the target itself, and then you reduce his evasion by 2, right? So that means that everybody else who's attacking this guy now has an easier time striking him. It doesn't make it easier to blast him, it's only easier to strike him, right? So Signal Fire is something that you take when you have a lot of other strikers within your party and you want them to, assist them in attacking or just assist yourself in attacking. Some targets have really high evasion in the basic set, and so this is one of those skills that can help to mitigate that kind of thing, right? So Signal Fire is fairly straightforward. It is not really a damage option. You're not meant to use it to damage people. It's a support option.
It's most likely your first skill.
Yeah.
At this level, this is most likely your first skill to use. So it's like you usually use this and then like maybe a focus and then you go to the next turn. Stuff like that. Yeah.
Well, at by the time you're Archery 2, you already have 3 points. So you're at least level 2. At least, right? Because you start level 1 with 3 points, and 1 point has to be spent on a defensive mastery, so you realistically have 2 points on your masteries, right? And so now we'll go on to the very final skill, which is the second glue of the mastery. It's not really a glue. This is kind of like the cherry on top of the entire set, and it makes everything
make sense.
Not just make sense, it amplifies everything, right? So if your character who just wants to play bow, you definitely want to go all the way to this skill, right? Which is a Siege Stance, right? So Siege Stance is it's a very unique skill. I think it's the only one of its kind in the basic set.
Yes,
it's the only stance skill. It's only stance skill.
Stance.
We have no other stance skills.
It's the only one with this kind of effect. Also, I don't think we have any other skill that has like anything similar to this at all. Like other skills, you might have something like it's like, oh, you could see this in something else, but Siege Stance is very, very unique to bow. Archery lah. Yeah.
Currently, yes.
So, what is it? So it's a stance, it's a boon and a bow.
Yes, boon and a bow. Yes, correct.
Yeah. So stance is actually a tag that is actually tied to stances lah. So in this case, it's Siege Stance. I can't give you any other example because there's none.
You can think of them as like going into a form, and then you can only have one stance of a type at any time.
For example, okay, maybe a defensive stance and then an offensive stance, stuff like that. So it's like maybe if you're in defensive stance, your damage goes down, and then
so if you're familiar with like World of Warcraft, you play warrior, you know, your protective stance and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then on paladins, you have your different aura. So those are kind of stances, right? So in siege stance, this is the stance, right? Usually, and this is currently the design kind of philosophy towards it is that stance is something that you activate, and then you're kind of going into you're narrowing your options in a sense, right? Where you're trying to specialize into something, and then you can get out of it and go into it, but it costs stamina points. Yeah, so that's the kind of design space that we're going around with stances.
So it costs 1 SP
to enter the stance.
To enter the stance. Correct. Yeah. To exit, it doesn't cost anything.
Yep.
Yeah.
It doesn't cost SP to stay in the stance.
Yes.
It's just to enter the stance.
So it's like a perm boon in that sense until you trigger the condition to break it.
Yep.
Yeah. Which I will explain later. Then this costs Archery 3. Which is basically you could take this immediately after Signifier.
Yep.
Or Black Powder Shot, if you choose. So this means you can technically get this at like 4, 3?
Yep.
4.
Level 3.
3, yeah. 3.
3 points, you must have already spent 3 points. So this is your 4th point.
So at level 3, you could really get this skill, which is quite strong at level 3. Yeah. So wielding bow, it's standard, and MP cost is 1. Right. Yep. So what are the effects? So the effects here is that you enter a stance where your bow strikes deal +2 armor penetrations and pierce through targets with less than 5 armor. Right. You have -2 evasion, obviously.
Like you yourself.
Yes, you are.
-2 evasion.
So, I mean, we go back to just now what you were saying, right? Which is usually players have like 7 evasion-ish. So if you take that number, if you take 7, this means now you only have 5. So remember just now we were talking about Signifier where reducing 2 stamina is a lot.
2 evasion.
2 evasion is a lot. So this applies the same way where now the enemies are going to have an easier time hitting you. Right? Yeah. So going back a bit, just now I mentioned about there's a stance breaking condition. So the stance breaking condition for this is it ends when you move. Correct. When you spend any stamina to move. Yeah.
Well, when you move in general. So anybody knocking you, moving you also moves you. Right. So if someone pushes you over and you fall down, that's moving you. Right. So it is easy to knock you out of this stance. We do have like a default action if you know is to legalize the action to push someone. Yes, we have that as an option, right? But generally, pushing someone, knocking the archer over in siege stance will end his stance, effectively wasting 1 SP in a sense.
So this skill is kind of the pinnacle skill here and quite important to archery because this is, if you notice, there is no other, like all your skills do not do armor penetration. So this is the only skill that provides it. Which means if you are fighting against armored guys, you would want to go into siege stance as soon as possible. Stuff like that. Okay.
As soon as you're in a safe position to fire your arrows from a good position where you won't get knocked down. Right?
That is kind of the main bread and butter of siege stance. But don't forget the second part, which is pierce through targets with less than 5 armor.
Yep.
Correct. That happens more often than everything.
Yes.
Yeah. Because armor is not like evasion where it's easier to get. Armor is much harder. Much harder to get.
5 armor is pretty difficult to hit.
It's so pretty hard.
On a character, if you don't have a shield, you probably don't have 5 armor.
Yeah.
Right. And same goes for monsters. Unless there's like heavily plated or something, you're generally not gonna have 5 armor. Right. So you're gonna be piercing through targets a lot. And so what does piercing through targets mean? It's like if you shoot your arrow in a straight line, right? And some guy is standing in front with 4 armor, and then the other guy behind has 2 armor, you're gonna pierce through all of them, applying your effects on every single target each. And so now you're gonna look at all of the other skills and be like, oh, okay, so Black Powder Shot now applies its bomb on every single target, right? Signal Fire now reduces the evasion on every single target that you hit, with the only condition that you have to line them up, right?
Yeah.
So that's the trade-off and the payoff for siege stands, right? So one of the reasons that we designed siege stands in this way was initially we were thinking about the whole sniper concept behind bows and archery and whatnot. Yes, shooting single powerful shots is very cool, right? Like, but how do you really make it feel like powerful? And we were designing this thing around the time when Monster Hunter Wilds came out, right? And so we're playing bows in Monster Hunter Wilds, and they have like the Dragon Piercer arrow, and you'll pierce through a monster, and it'll go like from his mouth into his ass, right, and come out the other side. So taking that exact same concept, is like how would you apply that into a TTRPG, right? And how do you make it mechanically work? What are the implications that can do that? And do you only just want to have one piercing arrow that shoots through the end, or do you want to have everything kind of pierce through in the end, which is spoiler, it's here, right? So that is what led to the design decision that we're like, okay, let's have something that pierces targets, but let's go even one step even further, which is let's make all of your arrows pierce targets at a cost, of course, right?
This was shortly after the second rework, or
Yeah,
third. I think it should be second, right?
Yeah.
When we were like, okay, acrobat is not working.
Yeah, they used to have like kick flips and like shooting rain of arrows and volleys and stuff like that, which are still very cool.
Yeah.
But it's not cohesive within the fantasy that we want to sell for the basic set. Because for the basic set, all of the masteries have they have like one or two base fantasies that we are appealing to, and we'll expand on this as the days go by, right? After the basic set and whatnot.
And I mean, don't get me wrong, Acrobat still has its own like target audience. It has its own fantasy stuff like that. But I think, I mean, I made this decision, which is, I feel that for a basic set, I think this is much more cooler and more interesting to play around than to play a guy who is moving around shooting arrows like it's water.
I mean, that's also because we do have other mobile range options.
Yes, that's also true. Because so it was kind of intruding into like other options. So it's like it gets a bit like not appealing at all. Yeah.
Well, it's not that it's not appealing. It's just
was
that
becoming more.
There was not much of a reason to choose one over the other because we have limited number of options in the basic set, right? We only have 5 skills and we only have X masteries, right? So because of that, we wanted to differentiate them as much as we can, so that when you mix and match them, you can still reach a large amount of different combinations. So the current option here is that we are choosing to go fully into the sniper kind of design for bows, and in the future we'll tackle the acrobatic version, right? And so one additional factor is that if you have seen the pre-launch page, which is in the link below, right? We have colossal monsters as a very big feature within AoA, and you will face colossal monsters. Generally, we want to try and introduce as many colossal monsters, and in an adventure you'll face at least one somewhere, right? That's one of the kind of like key highlights that we want to encourage within every adventure or campaign within AoA. And when you have a big monster and Siege Stands fires through a monster, right? Monsters, spoiler, has different parts. Every part counts as its own target, which means that Siege Stands pierces through every single part. Exactly like what you have in Monster Hunter with your Dragon Piercer and stuff like that, right? So to achieve that fantasy, this is one of the reasons we actually make Siege Stands the way it is, and allows you to prop many different things and use different synergies, enchantments and imbuements and all those kind of things, right? Which is one of the other synergies that is also possible with Siege Stands and with Focus, but we won't get into that here because that will make the entire thing last really, really long.
That would be like maybe we'll have like a creation,
like a build theory crafting
craft video.
Maybe we'll have a theory crafting tabletop. Yeah, but that's a discussion for another day.
that will take like 2 hours.
Yeah.
Easily.
Probably.
Yeah.
Okay. So with that, so now you can kind of see like the whole package for bows within the basic set of AoA, right? So just to run it back from the top, we have power shot, basic attack. We have focus, allowing you to ramp up your single shots, right? You have black powder shot, which is your AoE option, right? and we have Signal Fire, that's your debuffing option, and then you have Siege Stench, which is your makes everything
Do everything.
kind of AoE
Yeah.
and then penetrate enemies, right? And so just to add on a little bit more about armor penetration. So armor penetration is the ability to ignore armor. It doesn't increase your damage if the guy has no armor. It just ignores whatever armor they have there. So 2 penetration means you ignore 2 armor, right? And armor is a flat reduction to damage. If you have 5 damage, the guy has 2 armor, he takes 3 damage, right? Provided you actually landed the attack. So that's just kind of the context as to what armor penetration is, right? So bows in general, like as an archetype, we try not to add armor penetration in unnecessarily, because armor penetration is typically reserved for melee and blunt weapons, right? And then for the range options, we want armor to be really impactful against them, right? So these are things that these are design philosophies that we have for range options in general, and when we're designing classes and masteries, well, not classes, masteries and skills. And so you might be thinking like, oh, like what about like utility and range, your movement and stuff like that? A lot of those we have planted into the armor masteries. So within the armor masteries themselves, you have stuff that allows you to spend more SP, to move faster, to gain defenses, to position yourself to channel better, and things like that. And more utility options are available in your ratios, which will bring me on to my next point, which is that this Friday in the US and Saturday over here in Singapore, we will be having a special Tiny Tabletop where we'll be going through the different races that are available in the basic set as well. So you heard it here first. We're going to show off some skills available. We have 5 races, and we'll be going through some of its background, what it's like, what are the features, what are its skills, right? So there's a little sneak peek for you. And if you have seen in our Archery Mastery art, it's a more unique race, right? Like not something that traditionally you'll see in a TTRPG. Maybe if you play Arc Knights, you'll be familiar with it, right? Yep. And so with that, do you have anything else to add?
Nothing really. I mean, this is I mean I wouldn't say much because I maybe just going to biasness here. Like seriously, because I feel like this is one of the class that after I design and then seeing in playtest, seeing actually work, right, actually made me very like happy about it. Like the way it turned out and the way people intuitively use the skills, stuff like that. Same as the other mastery that I will not talk about, but yeah.
I think for when we played, because previously we were playing a Dungeons and Dragons game before we started making this project, right? This is like side talk at this point, right? Rangers suck. I really hate Rangers. Rangers and rogues feel bad. They are great for out of combat play. In combat, they feel terrible. Like,
yeah,
rogues have sneak attack and stuff like that, but
that's about it.
Rangers are the worst design thing outside, like within combat. Outside of combat, you have some cool stuff, but if you're in an urban area or if you're in whatever, like it's not very exciting, and you have to make a lot of shit up to make it look cool or feel cool. So we wanted to give a interesting bow option to players in our system. Yeah, I mean Rangers as a fantasy is cool. I like Rangers as a fantasy, but bows in reality feels like I'm just using a cantrip on everything, or like a bad spell.
It feels like a shitty Eldritch Blast.
Yeah, it's like a bad, like when Eldritch Blast exists and when Fireball exists, like you need a lot of imagination to make your bow really cool, right? Now melee rangers are a totally different story, right? Like melee rangers, like we're talking like Aragorn and stuff like that. Like that is, I think that has a lot more. Ironically, I feel like that has more support than the bow ranger. The bow ranger feels really unsupported in a lot of TTRPGs, right? And so we wanted to make bow like a really cool fantasy. I want people to look at bows and be like, oh, that is something that is really exciting to play. It is different from spells, it's different from other range options, different from crossbows, right?
The main appeal I want people to have is that I want them to treat bows, right, as not a side weapon.
Yeah.
Like I want people to treat it as like the main weapon that they use, even if you go into like melee option, right? Melee like range, you will still not want to soak to your offhand. In that sense, you would rather run away and use your bow instead. So like that's what I have for bow, like I don't want to be just the shitty sidekick weapon.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
basically, yeah.
Yeah, so like you said, right? Like people typically try to like have a range option and a melee option, and then they're like scaling in between, which is okay, which is fine. You can still do that. You can still have your sword, you can have your bow, you can have a shield, right? You can go full Aragon, but what about I want to go full Legolas, right? Like I just want to use the bow to shoot people, right?
Yeah.
So that was the option that we wanted to give people here because we also have the ability through other masteries to go full Aragon, right? You can go melee, range. Yeah, you want to have like this in between, mid range, long range stuff. It's still possible. We just wanted to allow people to actually dive into that sniper fantasy, which we find is sorely lacking in other systems, right? So yeah, that is the core design philosophy behind bow in AoA.
Kind of towards weapons also.
Yeah, towards weapons.
Kind of
Like weapons,
It's
we
like-
want martial weapons in general. We want them to have their own niche before we splinter into all of the other mixes, right? So if you're curious, Blade Arts in the playlist below. Can you take multiple masteries? Yes, you can. So you can have up to 3 core masteries. These core masteries do not include your defenses. So you can wear light, heavy, or cloth, or you can mix and match, up to you. But then separate from that, you have 3 core masteries. So core masteries are martial, magic, and specialists. Right. So you can take a bow, you can take a sword, you can take a shield. But this is still limited by how many mastery points you have. Right. So there's a trade-off here, right? Every level you gain a point. And you want to put points into like archery here, you want to put bow into a point into your blade arts here, put a point into your magic here maybe. But well, certain considerations you might want to have is that they scale off different stats, right? So like magic uses affinity, which is one of our 5 core stats. We have might, dexterity, vigor, charm, and affinity, right? So when it comes to martial skills, they scale off the weapon. So your weapon might be a weapon that uses dex, or it might be a weapon that uses might. So in this sense, you could have like for example, you could have a heavy longbow that uses might, and then a sword that also uses might. So that allows you for a bit of a simpler time multi class.
I mean, you could also just bribe your DM and ask him to make a affinity bow. So
right, I mean, because it's a property, right? So these things are properties. In the rulebook, we go into all the properties of the different weapons. And you can craft your own weapon, changing the properties here and there. Of course, there's a risk of it being unbalanced, right? If you're going to craft your own thing, just as all homebrew. I'm pretty sure you're familiar with like, like homebrew shenanigans.
I think you show the initial, the very first picture, the one with the description, right?
Oh yeah. So let's go right here again. So on the left side, right? So you can see in our hunter example, you have archery beast, right? Yes, that can lead to some like really crazy stuff. Like you can do some crazy stuff by yourself, and now imagine if your allies will also have some crazy like multi-classing thing, right? And that's exactly what we want to do. We want to have like some insane lack of better words, like some insane tactical synergies, right? This is gonna sound very like a bit video gamey already, but
that's also the main reason why we chose to do like weapon-based mastery and not a class fantasy.
Yes, exactly.
Because we wanted people to create that kind of things that they want.
Yeah. So the like an example I'll have is that let's just say you want to play a barbarian, right? But barbarians are they're kind of like a complete package, right? You have raging, you have angry weapons, you have melee weapons, stuff like that. So instead of that, in AoA, what we will do is we will split out. Okay, you want to be a sword wielding barbarian. Okay, you take the sword, and then you want to rage. Okay, you take the rage. Right, you put those two together, and then you become a barbarian. Right. Same thing for here. You want to be a hunter. That means you have a bow and you have a beast. So you take the bow and the beast and you put it together, rather than being hunter as a complete package. Right. So this allows you to have more fine-tuned power fantasies.
In using those examples, right, you could also have a raging bow guy.
Yeah, exactly. So you can have like a raging bow guy, you can have like a fire bow guy, you want like a fire beast guy. It all works, right? And the way that the skills are set up is that they synergize with each other naturally. So through strikes, through blasts, through weapon effects, through enchantments and things like that.
Wounds and stuff like that.
Yeah. So an example is like in Focus, it says Nyx Bow Strike. So there are some other masteries that use weapon strikes in general, right? Which we might go through. Which means that Focus can actually be used on skills from other masteries, and that can lead to, as you said, some crazy stuff. Yeah. That is something that we're really excited to see. We're excited to see like what players might see the masteries and choose their different combinations based on it could be a tactical decision, it could be a fantasy decision. We hope that it would inspire both, right? More so I won't say more so I think both are really important, especially like the fantasy part, right? So like traditionally your subclasses are kind of the specialized fantasy, whereas with the mastery system we want to open up the ability for you to create your own fantasy. You don't have to like,
you're basically specializing in the first level.
Correct. You're not trying to jam your character idea into a class like Conan the Barbarian, and then you're like, okay, I need to multi-class into a rogue, into a fighter, into a what? It's not even a barbarian, right? So that's one of the reasons that we're doing this whole mastery thing, is to allow you to easily create the exact power fantasy that you want to create, that players want to create.
And right now you can only see 5 skills lah, but in the future we're expanding a lot more. So this means that within like, I mean, I said it bro, which is currently our bow, right? Our archery is more sniper focused. In the future we will have like, in the same archery tree, you also have like the option to take the more acrobatic stuff. So it will be the same way as how we lay out the ranks and stuff, right? Which is like, the rank is like, maybe now, right, in the future, at level at rank 0, you have like 2 skills now. Right. Instead of power shot, you might have a jump shot, stuff like that. Right.
But those are things for in the future, because production limitations. There's only so much art and cards that we can produce and print in a single set, right?
And I think not only that, but the key point is also, right, the reason why we keep it so short and like not so short lah, but quite small, is because we wanted to have a better onboarding experience for the basic set. It is better to give you only 5 skills and not bombard you with like 300 skills. Like, that's crazy.
You'll be surprised how quick it is to create a character in AoA. Like, it is very simple. You have your cards there, you just pick your cards, you put your stats, and then you're done.
Even the setup time wasn't that long.
Every single playtest that we have run, we have run through players and help them to create a character. Generally, it takes about 10 to 15 minutes, maybe even less, depending on how familiar they are with like reading trading cards and stuff like that. Because there is a bit of a learning curve to learning how to read like a trading card style card.
Which we noticed, and then we actually created a quick reference guide for that as well.
So there are quick reference guides, there are like reference sheets and things that will help you to quickly onboard a player. So that's something that is really important, that this basic set, right, when you get it, and you want to get your friends to play it, right, you send them the reference sheet, you just tell them like the quick start guide, like how do you make a character, and bam, it's all done, right? The only things that they might have to reference is like, okay, what does this skill do? And you might have to read a rule as to like certain tags.
You do not have to have an actual session 0 anymore.
Well, we will still recommend you to have a session 0, in the sense that if you're going to start a campaign, it's good to have your...
It's good to have it, but do you really need it? Because session 0 is traditionally for like clearing up creation, stuff like that. But because we are simplifying everything, right, it's pretty easy. You could actually merge it into your session 1 in a sense.
Yeah, so like GURPS, right, there's so much into the character creation that it's its own game. Like, creating a character is like an entire thing by itself.
Don't get me wrong, it's a good system. Like, a lot of the systems out there are very good, correct? But the issue with most of them, and versus what we are doing right now, is because right, we wanted, when we were playing D&D lah, right, I really didn't like the onboard experience.
Yeah, there's too many. Even D&D, okay, I would say D&D is already simpler. Like, 5th edition is simple. Like 3.5 and your 2E and all that stuff. There's a lot more rolling. There's a lot more things that comes with it, right? 5th edition is already like a fairly streamlined experience, but it could be simpler. It could be simpler.
Like, there's still a lot of unnecessary things that in our case, right, because we are able to do it, because we are redoing this from the ground up, we are able to remove a lot of this like unnecessary stuff. It's not say unnecessary in that sense. It's more of like we are removing a lot of this like friction.
It's friction.
Stuff like that.
Like, of course, if you still want to have like role playing lore and things like that, there's nothing stopping you from having that, right? And whether you still want it to have mechanical implications, still possible, right? It's just that instead of having to write down every single thing or roll every single thing, it is that, okay, here are your skills, here are your cards, just pick them, right? Pick your numbers, give some like lore or some backstory to your character, your race. Even the race have cards, right? So so all of the, and it's not the race itself, but rather the skills of the race. So while you're at the table playing it, or while you're on your VDT or whatever, you can quickly refer to the card, and the card has all the effects. It's laid nicely in a
we
UI.
we are not probably using VDT.
No, as in if they install it into a VDT, you know, right? I mean, traditionally, even if you don't have an actual VDT, if you're playing online, right, you can just look at a picture of a card and be like, okay, that's how you read it, right?
I'm not going to promise VDT.
Yeah, VDT it's nice to have, like. Hopefully, you can have it.
No, maybe not for basic set. I mean,
no. It's not for basic set. Like VDT is something that is an investment, and it will have to be for like the entire system support. Yeah. But for now, we will promise the digital copy. That one is possible, right? So you have digital copies of the book, the cards, and stuff like that. You need your own 2d6. that's your problem.
You have dice rollers online.
Yeah, there are dice rollers online, right? So yeah, that is that is what do you call that?
Small talk.
not just small talk lah. Like the whole character creation process and how we want to streamline that, right? This coming weekend, when we go through the races, you'll kind of see what the races are like and how they differ from martial classes and not martial masteries, and how similar they are actually, because races, spoiler, they're just masteries as well, right? They're masteries but with physical conditions that appear on your character, right? So we call them racial masteries in the book, right? And very similar, but they don't use mastery points, they use racial points. And you can multi-race, just like normal races in real life. Right. Okay. And so with that, we have come to the end of episode 8 of Tiny Table Talk. And this is the Archery Mastery, right? The pre-launch page is available below. We have a bunch of links to our socials, our Facebook group, our community Discord. So join us. The playlist has all of the VODs for all the past Tiny Table Talks. You can see the deep dives for the Blade Arts, the Beast, the Flame, and now Archery. And we also have like a little like one-shot session, but there's no actual combat that happens on a plane, so it is not comprehensive, but you'll get a rough feel for like how quick the rolls are and how simple they are, right? And we also have a run through of like the character creation process inside one of the Tiny Table Talks. One of them. I don't remember off the top of my head which episode it was.
That is not done with me, so I'm not sure.
Yeah. It's one of them. Okay, and so that is the end of the episode. I am John.
I'm Diane.
We are signing out.